The one word I would say is balance. You have to continuously be centered. And when I say centered, I'm saying like I'm talking about with God.
Mm. Come on, somebody.
Um, to have your balance and your direction right because there are a lot of things that are good for us, but too much of anything is bad.
Mm.
Too much water is bad. You know what
Come
I'm
on
saying?
now.
So,
Yes, and every
and
living thing
water
needs
is,
water.
we need water, but too
Yes.
much water is bad.
Hmm.
So having that balance, and that's why like staying close, staying connected to God, the Holy Spirit, like allowing that to direct you. And
Yes.
it's a difference between we know God is sovereign, but allowing Him to be Lord over your life. And
Hmm.
that's what I'm focusing on because a lot of things that seem right in our natural mind don't. So in
Mm.
your natural mind, it seems like you want to make more money, go work more. But they might not be the directions the Holy Spirit is leading. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's what I'm following.
Hmm.
So, it's more so about obedience is better than sacrifice for me. So
Ooh,
walking in
that's a word.
obedience and staying balanced so that I can know how to parent, not parenting through my traumas in a sense where, a lot of times we parent through our traumas, our dysfunction, meaning if you didn't grow up with a lot, you want to give your child the world. But now you can create a child that has a sense of entitlement that's a brat. But it's like
Yeah.
understanding that balance. And
Hmm.
then when it talks about dating, you gotta stay, you want to be in the right mindset when you're meeting somebody, not out of vulnerability or
Hmm.
loneliness. So you don't make sure that you're falling in love with somebody that's filling a void from
Mm.
some dysfunction you have, and that you're falling in love with somebody who's equally yoked with you so that y'all can really build and have something amazing. So you know, balance, balance, balance.
Yeah.
Because you think about it, you want to have you want to give the ample amount of time to God, to dating, to parenting, to work, to
Hmm.
personal development, to working out, keeping your health,
Yes.
and that just sounds exhausting thinking about it. But when you have that balance and when you stay committed to your commitments and you have that discipline, you can start working in the right direction. With
Amen.
I hope I answered the question.
You did. You did. Balance is key because it helps us to center ourselves. And, there will be times as a single parent, and I know this just from my walk. Um, Pretty much when my sons were younger, because I have two adult sons, but I have one 10-year-old child. But my sons are grown men. They don't, I raised them to be men, and they are not mama's boys in any sense of the word. They love their mama, but they are grown and they have their lives. Um, but what I will say is when they were younger, I can just recall making sure that I maintained that balance, making sure that I was able to, work near home, and, I was that mommy that came home every night. They had a different meal. And I'm gonna tell you right now, don't be like me. I spoiled my kids when they were younger by cooking a different meal every night because that was the expectation when they got older, and it wasn't working out at that point. I was trying to get them to cook more and do different things, and it was hard for them because they weren't used to that.
Hmm.
Um, so it worked at the time when they were younger, but as I started to grow in my professional development, I just I had to, shift. I had to make sure I meal prepped as opposed to cooking a different meal every night. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
As opposed to setting the table every night. Because when you are a single parent, it's different. If I had a husband at home, I would have been able to do that. But that wasn't the case. It was just me. So I had to me adjusting as they got older. It was a big change for them in some instances. It's the small things when you're parenting that the kids like. They enjoy
Yeah.
their time, their movie time, game night, family time. They look forward to those things. And that's what helps to keep them motivated in school and doing the right things when we incentivize them. And I know you know all
Hmm.
about that because you also wear the hat as a behavior specialist. And so, with you being a father, I can see and connect that to you as a teacher because, just seeing you engage with students and encouraging them and inspiring them. What's I would say, a time with you wearing your Super Carol hat or your teacher hat that you were really engaging students and you felt that you were reaching them beyond the surface, you know? Because sometimes when students interact with teachers, there's like this surface persona, and then there's like penetration where we're really digging deep and we can pull them out of a pit or pull them out of a place of dysfunction or prevent them from doing something disastrous to themselves or to another child. Can you share with us a moment that you may have had with a student as it relates to that?
Shoot. Well, it was this one guy. I mean, shit, he was like my daggone son. I remember I was coaching. It was my second year teaching. I was coaching middle school, and he kind of had this me against the world mentality. He was from New Orleans. They were transplanted out here during Katrina when he was younger, and I just noticed that. I mean, he was getting into it with everybody to the
Mhm.
point where he's playing running back, and the running
Oh,
back
wow.
can't run if the line don't block. The
Mm.
line wasn't blocking. He was just getting smacked by everybody, just bow, bow, just getting hit. And he was so stubborn. He just started fussing at the lineman. He still ain't humble himself.
Mm.
And after practice, I was like, come work out with me. And as we went in the weight room and started working out, we were talking. I found out, that he didn't really have a relationship with his dad. It was just him and his mom, his brother, and his little sister. She was pregnant with another little girl. Then I found out they were homeless. They
Oh.
were staying in an extended stay, which is just,
Mhm.
that. And he's 15, trying to find himself, trying to become a
Mm.
man, thinking he's a man.
Yeah.
It's the hormones of his mom being pregnant. Then they all stuck in that one
Mm.
little space. It's just
Mm.
too much. And I spent a lot of time pulling off those layers. And I
Mm.
literally he would just be with me all the time.
Wow.
We went to church every Sunday. One time he couldn't go because he had to babysit his little sister. And
Mhm.
I said, she can come. I
Come on
fell in
now.
love with his little sister.
Come on.
Everybody, my mama even thought that was my daughter. You know what I'm saying? But as he saw me be nurturing with her, he started being more nurturing with her. And as he spent more time in my presence, I was able to give that energy off to him
Mm.
about how to handle situations. We would just talk, just simple
Right.
things about how to handle things in the hallway because he had a lot of anger in him. And he was
Mhm.
an extremely smart and talented kid, So that was one of the first examples. Uh, it was actually a lot before it, but that was one of the more memorable ones.
Mhm.
How we broke through that threshold. Now, kept in touch with him all the way through high school to when he
Wow.
graduated, went to his graduation and everything. Um, so that was, but that's what I based my teaching off. I mean, I'm a teacher,
Mhm.
but reading, writing, arithmetic was never really my concern or my focus.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I know that sounds weird, but at the
Oh
end of
no,
the
I
day,
understand as an educator. I get it
yeah, because
because
they don't care
especially with
what you
special
know until they
needs.
know that you care.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
I
I always
understand.
focused on building relationships and getting to the kid, and then other stuff was just, oh, that's easy now.
Right, right, right. I get it. And thank you for being transparent in that example. Now, what is it about you that what are some of your life experiences that you've had that actually give you that ability to understand a child in that situation? Because myself as a parent, and something that recently happened with my daughter in school, um, I don't think one of her teachers understood my situation as it related to me just needing her support and more communication because I'm not in a typical situation that I've been in for the last, you know, you know, 10 years or so that she's been in school. So I need additional communication and support to let me know if anything is altering, give me a call. So what what has happened and transpired in your life that has given you that sensitivity, that has given you that empathy, and that insight to be able to relate to these students or to people in that way?
Well, first thing is God's grace because it wasn't my choice that I had a nurturing and a loving mother. That was God's grace because I could have got a crackhead for a mother.
Come on, somebody. Come
You know what I'm
on.
saying? I could have ended up in the orphanage. That was literally God's grace. So I'm thankful for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is, I know what it feel like to not understand.
Mm-hmm.
They try to put me in special ed. I was a
Mm-hmm.
class clown. When I
Mm-hmm.
came to school, they was like, he need to have his medicine. If I ain't had
Mm-hmm.
my medicine, my Ritalin, they would call my mom.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but I never felt like I was bad. I just felt like I wanted engaging and active things. Like I learned in football practice, I learned in baseball, basketball practice. I learned
Right.
when I saw something engaging. I just didn't want to sit down and shut up the whole class.
Mm-hmm.
Could we, athletes and boys are more active. They kind of hit
Active.
the ground running. So we
Mm-hmm.
need to learn by doing. You know what I'm saying? Can we get some activities in there?
Yeah.
So I knew how much I had a disdain for teaching, for school.
Right, right, right.
Like I hated school. And now I'm a teacher. But I said I'm gonna make it my business to make school, to not make school how how it was when I was there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think a lot of times adults can't get in tune with kids because they forget what it was like to be 8 and
Mm.
10. Like who wanted to sit down and
Come on,
just listen?
somebody.
Do you have to learn how to listen? Yes. Do you know
Mm-hmm.
how to learn how to get your spirit still? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But come on, man. Don't nobody want to do that for 8 hours. Let's get some activity. Let's
Yeah,
get it vibrant in here.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's have some fun and make it vibrant and
Yeah.
lively.
So I was able to empathize because I know what it felt like. And I know what it felt like to want to make friends, going to
Mm-hmm.
new schools. So I'm an empath. So I'm naturally a feeling a new kid. I want them to feel comfortable. Ain't no way you're gonna be in my class and not feel comfortable. And you ain't about to be in here bullying nobody. I
Right.
bully the bullies. You know what I'm saying?
But you
Like,
know they
so
are in every class.
yeah, yeah. So I don't make
Mhm.
it cool to bully in my class. So they don't do that around me. And I try to teach at the core about what it feels like. I give them a taste of their own medicine. So then they kind of like, oh man, I see how that feels. And we talk through it. Because
Mhm.
I'll stop a lesson in a second to do a social skills lesson. You know
Come
what I'm
on,
saying?
somebody.
Yeah.
Because
So
they need that engagement with one another sometimes, just to keep the calmness in the room and to recenter everything, to refocus. They need that
mhm.
socialization, not just between the teacher and the student, but also between the students themselves. So that's good that you know how to jump in and do that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. But that's really where I get it from. Because I mean I
Hmm.
still don't like school. I like to learn. I never
Hmm.
realized I do like to learn because every time I'm in
Oh
my
yeah.
car, I'm listening to a sermon, a podcast, something
Hmm.
on YouTube about something I want to research and learn, an audio
Hmm.
book. I like to learn. I'm always
Oh
learning
yeah.
something.
We're all
I
life learners.
hmm
So, what is it about your faith? Because for myself, I grew up in a Christian home, and I would say Baptist was the denomination, but I really found God for myself. And of course, a lot of times when you're going through and you want to know if God is real, that was very real for me. Just reaching out to God and really building that one on one relationship with Him, being in that Word. So, what was it about your experience that led you to God as a man? What can you share with everyone to help them understand the importance of having faith and how that played a role for you in your life?
So my journey was a little backwards. I mean, we went to church on like Easter and stuff, and we'd go sometimes when I was younger. But I grew up in a very morally good home. We didn't like have Bible studies. I had my great aunt, so my grandmother's sister, who was my great aunt, my aunt Gloria. She used to teach us when I was younger. Like we used to watch the Ten Commandments movie. I'm
Oh
talking
yeah.
about the old school one.
Oh, oh, I got some up.
Yeah,
I know Samson
it
and Delilah.
yeah,
Shoot, I
and in her
know.
basement, it was the picture of Jesus, and I was so scared. I was like, God, don't come talk to me, because I'm thinking it's gonna be a burning bush experience like Moses. So I was terrified of her basement, but I would have to go down there to use the restroom or something. Sometimes I had to pee all over the place. I was so scared trying to hurry to get back upstairs. But
Oh my
I saw
goodness.
God like a magician or like a genie. So I
Right.
used to think, like when I was in high school, football season coming up, baseball season, I want to have a good season. Let me write down everything I want and read it every night. That's what I thought it was. But I had this yearning and this desire. I always thought, thank God, I scored a game winning touchdown. Every time I scored a touchdown, I always thought, thank God. It was kind of a, it was sincere, but it was ignorant. You know what I'm saying? But it was kind of pure. But it just was a lot of ignorance involved in what I thought God was. So when I was going to college, I just had all these fears and all this apprehension about going to school and going crazy and wilding out. And I wasn't even a wild person, but I was like, man, I don't want to do that. So I just had this yearning and this desire. One day I was outside, me and my homeboy was talking with some girls on campus. Somebody came up there and gave me a flyer for college ministry. I went, and usually when it's time to get saved or you want to get baptized, or whatever, you be nervous about standing up. They asked anybody want to get saved. I stood up. I mean, I didn't hesitate, and I
Right.
literally served and went to that ministry my whole time in college. And I went from not knowing Jesus was God's son, I ain't know nothing, to reading my Bible every day. I would go to Bible study, college Bible study, then I go to Baptist College Ministries, then I go to FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I mean, I was literally going to Bible study 3, 4 times a week, then going to church on Sundays. Went and bought me a pair of slacks. Start buying some suits. It was all too big for me, but you know what I'm saying. I mean,
But
that's
you
how
were
my
there.
journey started. Like I literally just got on fire for Jesus in
Mm.
college.
So
You know,
you really felt like the presence of the Holy Spirit just pulling you in, helping you to read and opening your mind with that word. Because when God gets a hold of you, man, it's like it helps you to move on another level. Like
well,
you see things
people laugh
differently.
at me, but I tell them this. Because I didn't know how to read the Bible. I got me an NIV Bible. I got me a concordance stuff, and I started like studying and reading. And my pastor, Pastor Baldwin, Jerry Baldwin in Russell, Louisiana, most amazing man I've ever met in my life to this day.
Mm, I know that's
By
right.
far, most amazing man I've ever met. I
Come
mean,
on
I ain't never
now.
met nobody who would like. He would literally see crackheads on the street, go pick them up. Then you see him in the ministry, they gain weight and start
Mm,
serving.
come
He
on,
said the
somebody.
schools kicking all of the black and brown boys getting kicked out of alternative school. I started school at the church. Started the school. It's thriving. Too many crackheads on the street. Bought the motel thing. Got the rooms in there and just gave him the word every day. He said the answer to everything is the word. And I started to understand what the word means when it says sit at the feet. They would sit at the feet of Jesus because he had so much wisdom when he spoke. There was so
Yes.
much coming out to learn. And he would just tell us stories because he used to be a football coach at LSU.
Oh wow.
He was the
Wow.
first black head football coach at a Division One at University of Lafayette,
That's
Louisiana Lafayette.
amazing.
So the pedigree he came from, his father was a civil rights leader in Mississippi.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So he
Come on.
was he stood for so much. He was a father, he was a husband, and he loved God, and he was cool. He wasn't lame. You know what I'm saying? So it was just an honor to be in that ministry and learning. He's a teacher. So I started learning, and people always laugh at me. I said I never studied in college. I didn't. I didn't learn my learning style until I was 25 when I passed my teacher test. But
Mm, I
I
know.
didn't.
Come on, somebody.
I
It's,
didn't
it's gonna
study in
take
college.
somebody you to pass
I
that.
may have read over my notes a few times, but I thought I was studying. To my homegirl, I was laughing at me. Like I said, man, I studied hard. I only got a 76. She said, well, what did you do when you were studying? I said, I read over my notes like twice, and she started laughing because she thought I was serious. All my friends would be in the library studying their word, studying their work, right? I'll be in there with my Bible. No lie. I would go to study groups where everybody be doing their work and I'd be reading my Bible. And it made me smarter. And I
Mm,
passed college.
I know
Like
that's right.
I graduated in 3 years, as a matter of fact.
Oh, wow,
I
that says a
graduated
lot.
early and all I did was read my Bible. I did my working class,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
but I just ain't go do no extra time at
Yeah.
home. I wouldn't
You
recommend
had that
nobody do that
grace.
though.
You had that grace extended,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, because I was
Yeah.
foolish. I was foolish.
That grace was extended. It covered you. Got you out of college.
Yeah, that's a he know my heart. That's a he know my heart.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's my line. My grandmother taught me that, Leona, God knows your heart. I know He does. He knows my heart. So when you think about, just you as an athlete, how did you transform that athleticism, that part of who you are and your personality into Super Carol? For those who don't know, you are an author. You have written a beautiful book, Super Sharing. teaching students and children how to share and how to come together. You're a community organizer. You've organized different events. A motivational speaker, teacher trainer, virtual mentor is something we're working on, and then also youth advocate. Woo, youth advocate. Advocating for the youth who are special needs and just in need of someone who's holding them accountable, someone who is transparent. And I do want to say as well, because my daughter also had another teacher who was consistent with, in the end, just making sure she was Batman and I was Robin, and we made sure Kalina, handed in her assignments because she was in virtual school and it's totally different than regular school. But my expectations don't change. And
Hmm.
so for that particular teacher, even though initially at one point, my baby girl, she was on point and I checked everything, I hadn't heard anything. So I'm thinking everything is good. And then when I realized there was a problem, we were Batman and Robin. No, get your assignments in, because the expectation is that you're going to be at your best and nothing less. And so when you have one person who understands the expectations that you have for your child and understanding the importance of the communication, and you have someone who also may care about your child but may feel like, okay, well, as long as she just passed, that's not ever in my vocabulary. It's okay to just pass or just to get by. No, it's important that my child excels and be
So,
their best, right? So how did you take, you know, uh, the super Carol and come up with super Sharon to just dig a little deeper and go a little further with these students to help engage them and make them be the best that they can be?
well, super is just about helping kids maximize being the best that they can be. Because I can only expect you. Everybody ain't gonna do the same, but I want you to do the best that you can do. I want you to maximize. If the highest you can do is here, I want you to be here. I don't want you to be here. So super sharing was about. I was working in one of the poorest communities in Houston at an elementary school. I was working in the behavior class. 1 in 4 in Harris County are considered illiterate, and it's even worse in the poor communities. We got high schools with 60 and dang near 70% dropout rates in 2019,
It's
2020.
crazy.
People think dropping out is them just not coming to school. No, they could go to school, but because they didn't pass their state test, they got a
Right.
certificate of completion and not a diploma. You know what I'm saying? So I'm at that in that same district in that same area at the elementary school. So I'm getting a seat from the beginning. So I had mandatory reading time because I knew that just reading 10 minutes a day can do so much for you. And when I said read, I meant read. So I paired kids up, because peer mentoring is important. I knew who to have my teacher's aides with, and I had knew who I need to sit next to. And we read, and I realized that reading was boring to them because they struggled at it and there was nothing interesting. I wanted to make something personalized to them. And I said, you know what, I could do a book. And I didn't even believe in myself at first. So I wrote this little thing and I let my sister read it. My sister, she went to Spelman, magna cum laude. She went to Ivy League for her master's, magna cum laude. So I'm like, if she says it's official, it's official.
Come on,
She was like,
somebody.
Brian, this is dope. And I was like, for real? So then I realized I wasn't even believing in myself. So how am I gonna get them to believe in themselves? So I just jumped out on faith. I said, man, I'm about to do a book. And I did a book. And I wanted them to read. I wanted them to see practical situations that they need to learn how to handle in a book. So it's teaching them. And I wanted somebody that they could reach out and touch to be the author, was me. You know what I'm saying? And so, and I put super in front of everything because I want them to be super at everything. And the way I got the name Super Curl was I was I was teaching, I was doing inclusion, just kind of jumping in, but the school was just off the chains and people be quitting. And the guy in the behavior class, I got a promotion. It's crazy how God make you find your calling, at least in that period, in that season. I would have to sub in there sometimes because they knew I was good with classroom management. And they was trying to get me to quit. They was kind of trying to railroad me. You know what I'm saying? You know how education get at times.
Come on
They was
now.
trying to railroad me. But
Come
I would
on,
go in there, my
somebody.
two teachers' aides, the two teachers' aides were like my moms. It was like it
Yeah.
was a black lady and a Hispanic lady.
Hmm.
Super sweet, I mean, they couldn't really do nothing with discipline, but they loved the kids and they were super supportive, right? I come there, I'm the hammer. And when I would go in there and sub every once in a while, I protected them. Because I took it personal when them kids try to come at them. Like that's what we not about to do.
Come on,
You know what I'm
somebody.
saying? So when the other guy, the teacher, got a promotion, they were like, Mr. Carroll, we just want you in here. You protect us. And the first day I came in there, I was pissed. I
Mm,
wasn't mad. I was pissed. I was
I
like,
know
I'm
that's right.
quit. But I knew I had rent and the car payment, so I really, I'm just talking. I wasn't really about to quit. So I'm like, man, I'm gonna quit. She's like, no, Miss Carroll, we want, will you protect us? And the first day I walked in the door, she chanted, Super Carroll. Because I would put on these Eric Thomas videos, I would do motivational speaking to the kids. I would pour my heart
Get
out to
ET on
them
them. That's right.
every day. And they said, Mr. Carroll, something different about when you're here. And I changed that class around.
Come on.
And that's how I got the name Super Carol. They used to
Mm-hmm.
call me Super Carol, the teacher. I mean, the teacher's aide used to call me Super. I
Mm-hmm.
still keep in touch with them to this day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Super sweet.
Mm-hmm. I still stay in touch. I had assistants that assisted me, and only they and I know, how things were, and we are still cool. We are still tight. Because when you're in those situations in the educational environment, it's very important for the team to have each other's back and do the best that they can do, come up with different tactics and techniques to help empower these students. And then I'm sure you've seen it where some of these students are turned around just because you connected with them outside of just trying to get them to do their work. Now, as it relates to a father's love, for those who may not know, you have a nonprofit organization. Please share a little bit about that and a father's love, because Father's Day is upon us. And with you being a single father and just pouring out the love on those baby girls the way you do, I know your mother is so proud of you because it's genuine, and you had to get that love from somebody in order to be able to give it to others, and
Shout out to
able
my
to impart
mama.
that. Yeah, she got to be proud of you. I know because I raised sons, and I know she just so proud of you, just moving forward, handling your business and doing what needs to be done. So tell us about a father's love, and how did you arrive to that place where, in spite of not being married and having a misstep here or there, just doing what needs to be done, showing up and putting that S on your chest for them girls, because you do that. You take excellent care of those daughters. Yes, you do.
Um, well, a father's love was produced from really the heartache of co-parenting, and you know people don't. Some people do know this, like, but not a lot of people. When you dropping your child off and not knowing when you're gonna see him again, or not seeing your child for 4 and 5 months and wanting to see them and
And how,
not feeling, with not knowing what to do. And as a man, it was like, dang, where's my space to cry? Where's my space to vent? Like, who's here to help me? I felt so alone in this journey. And all I wanted to do was just love on my daughter at the time, because it was just Brunley. And then I realized how much God was teaching me about love, like serving I love giving her a bath, putting lotion on her, changing it. She said, Daddy. And I'm like, oh, I remember the first time I pulled up to pick up and she was at the screen door, Daddy, Daddy. And I was like, dang, how she know to
wow,
call me that? Like, I was
wow.
like, I was just about to bawl crying.
Mm-hmm.
Um, or the first time, because from 1 month to 7 month, I didn't really see her until we had
Mm,
like a little mediation
wow.
with the courts, and then
And
they
that
set.
wasn't what, if you don't mind me asking, was that your choice, or
Absolutely. No, I definitely want to
I
see
just
my
want to be
child.
clear for for people who are in
Yeah.
a similar situation as yours.
Yeah, I definitely was. I was trying to see my baby all the time, but truth be told, I can't just go in there. The police can't make her give it to me. You got to handle things through the courts. The courts are slow, and one thing is, a lot of times we don't. Like Hosea 4 said, people die from lack of knowledge.
Right.
It's not always a physical death. It could just be you missing out on situations, prolonging situations because you don't know,
Right.
and not knowing how to handle things, um, you know, with the lawyers and all of this stuff. But I was so scared when I hadn't seen her. I was like, man, is she gonna remember me? I
Mm.
mean, it was so much anxiety.
Oh my Lord.
And when
And
I
it,
pull up, and I remember her sitting in her mom's lap, getting her hair done. She was 7 months, and we locked eyes, and she smiled at me, and I got to pick her up. And I mean, it's just been magic ever since then. You know what I'm saying? And that was the biggest weight off my shoulders. And I was just like, dang, nobody. I don't think they really understand and celebrate a father's love. Like, like I love my babies, and God requires me to be priest, provider, and protector. You
come
know what
on,
I'm saying? I'll do
somebody.
whatever it takes behind them. And I just wanted people to understand the father's love. And as I started expressing my love for my daughter via videos and pictures, I would
Hmm.
get a lot of text messages or DMs from other men like, bro, I really respect what you're doing. And now they doing it. They letting their daughters, do this or do that. One homeboy, he real macho. He done did something I ain't even did. He up there like, man, you be pulling videos with your daughter. Until next thing you know, he got a video with his daughter putting makeup on. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, hey, we can be vulnerable. We can be open. You know what I'm saying? We can be emotional.
Hmm.
And your daughters and your sons need to see that,
They
you
do.
know.
They absolutely do. And I just want to back up a little bit as you were talking about mediation in court. As a single parent who had to also go to court, it wasn't something that I wanted to do. I wanted us to be able to have an agreement, but that was not working at all. So I do see how, even with attorneys, even with agreements, it's not really, things aren't always enforced. You can't ever enforce a parent to spend time with their child. You
Yeah.
can't ever really enforce child support in a climate like COVID. If it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like, it is what it is. But what you can do is, and this is what I would recommend, give the parent time. I have seen a slow, gradual um, change for the positive. And no matter how small or big it is, just give that parent room to grow. That's all you can do. And they have to answer to God for everything they do and don't do. Because when children are not spending time with their mother or their father, the child is suffering.
Hmm.
Not just the parent who wants to see the child, but the child. I can't imagine not having my grandfather, who was just like my rock and everything. And my daddy, I love him to death. My daddy always made me feel special, always called me beautiful, always gave me hugs and kisses. His name for me is Nona, and I just realized that Nona means grandmom in Italian. And I said, well, that explains it. My grandma used to be like, oh, girl, you are wise before your time. But, when you don't have those moments, I can't imagine. And what
Hmm.
people have to understand is something that you get from a man that you don't get from a woman.
Yeah.
In fact, and I'll share this with, everyone, before my mother passed and I brought her here to Houston, that was one of the lessons that she taught me without telling me it was a lesson, but I got it and it just sticks in my mind from time to time. We were at the airport and I didn't expect to bring my mother home with me. But I knew in her condition, she had to come with me so that I could take care of her because I was in Houston and she was in Philadelphia. And so my sons, I had them with me because they were coming for a visit to see her. And when I brought her back, I had all these bags and I'm trying to, navigate and show them what they need to do and trying to get her in with the wheelchair. It was just so many moving parts. And she stopped me and she said, Leona, you are not a man. Okay. She said, I just want you to know that I see you. I appreciate you. But baby, it's going to be all right. You're not a man. And I mean, I didn't understand the point of her saying it right then and there, other than me trying to lift the heavy bags that we had.
Mm,
And she called somebody and had them, paid them to take the bags and did all of that. But that lesson has stuck with me. And I know we're in a Me Too climate. I know we're in a climate where, yes, women can do it all and be superwoman and be Superman if she chooses to. I get it. I get it. I get it. But just not just in the traditional sense, but in the scientific sense, in the biblical sense, there is a difference in the genetic makeup between a man and a woman. There is
yeah,
a difference in the abilities that God has given a man and a woman. And this is why when you have a child, you need a mother and you need a father, and
yeah,
it's a give and it's a take. And
yeah.
it's like you literally have to do the dance in life. You have to do the, the salsa, whatever it is that you're doing. And sometimes he's leading, and it's one you may have to take the lead and may have to dip or whatever it is, because at the end of the day, when you have this thing called family, you can't replace a father. And
Mm.
so you just can't. You cannot replace a father, his love, his hugs, his kisses, you know, you just can't. And again,
Which is
it's,
wired. We're wired different.
yeah,
Um, we're wired different, and God gives us different responsibilities. Not to say that there aren't things that a man that a man can do that a woman can do, and vice versa. But it wouldn't take two different to make something if you didn't need one. You know, and that's why when men want to be more like women, they take certain hormones, or women want to be more like men, they take certain hormones because
right.
the genetics, um, everything is just is different. Yeah,
It's different. We're,
that
yeah.
notion of acting like God makes mistakes is
Absolutely. And so it's not to take away. I allow people to be whoever they want to be in this world. I'm not God,
hmm
and I'm not here to judge people. But what I am going to do is follow on God's word as it relates to parenting, needing a mother and a father. Because whether you remove one or the other, the child is going to suffer and struggle and have a lack. There's going to be a desire. Now, yes, it's always good to have that full support from at least one person in your life. But a mother and a father are as equally as important, period, point blank. If one
absolutely.
is absent, there's going to be an impact. You know, there just is. So, what can we expect from Super Carol moving forward as we're wrapping up this interview, and just having a better understanding of making sure that we as single parents have balance when it comes to dating, making sure that we open our hearts up to God as you have so eloquently, demonstrated in your own personal experience to help get us through difficult times as parenting, making sure that we put our own S on our chest, like you have in your with your character, Super Carol. You know, what's next for you, and what are some things that you're looking forward to as a father, as a man, as a single parent? What are some things you're looking forward to?
Really starting my journey to become a therapist is something I'm really excited about.
Mm-hmm.
Learning so much about the mental health field and really working in mental health for all these
Mm-hmm.
years in the behavior class, being certified in special education.
Mm-hmm.
That's something really exciting, but getting more books, writing more curriculum. I'm writing social emotional learning curriculum. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going full time as a educational consultant. So speaking in the schools to teachers, teaching them different strategies that'll make them more successful in the classroom from a
Mm-hmm.
restorative, therapeutic, emotional, social emotional standpoint, as opposed to just content, content, content.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Doing my events, whether it's a father's love events where we're cooking with our daughters, where we going to the park, more round tables with the
Mm-hmm.
men. We're gonna get these men and we're gonna be completely emotionally naked and we're gonna grow and we're gonna teach at the same time. So
Come
we're gonna
on.
be able to give people insight on where our heads are and what we're thinking. Because one thing is, it's a difference between what a man says and what a woman hears, and vice versa.
Mm.
What a woman
Yes.
says and what a man hears. And that's what we have to learn.
Mm.
Communication is key, but interpretation is also key. It's
Yes.
keyer. I just
Yes.
made up a word. Not the word. That's keyer. Interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
So, getting that going, and the virtual mentoring, getting more mentoring building more relationships with youth, and just building a strong coalition of young males that are ready to walk out here with outstanding character and like kind of getting back to the rites of passage days. Like back in that,
Yes.
they had a rites of passage. You wasn't just a male because you was out here sleeping around or because you had some hair on your little nuts or something. You know what I'm saying? Like you was a man because there was certain. Now I ain't trying to tell you go kill no lion because I ain't
Right.
about to go kill no
I
lion.
know that's right.
I
But
kill a
there
roach
are some
though.
battles in life that are
Yeah,
like lions. There are some
yeah,
battles that are going to be like some beasts to fight, and you have
yeah.
got
On
to
my
be
rites of passage,
prepared.
you gonna have to go kill a roach or something. Go in the hood. Go kill all the roaches in the hood. No raid.
Oh my
But
goodness.
you know, there's certain things that they need to know and understand about, what it really takes, what really
Yeah,
being
what
a
it really
man
takes.
is. Because toxic masculinity is so real.
It
Um,
really is. And DeAndre Whitfield, he has taught me through his book the difference between a male and a man. And I appreciate that analogy because just because you have all of your moving parts don't make you a man. And
mhm.
there's a difference in how you present yourself. There's a difference in how you handle situations. He talks about the importance of communication. He talks about serving, and you've talked about that a lot. Serving. Wanting to serve your daughters, wanting to serve your wife when you get married, wanting to serve your community. You
Well, think
know,
about this. The Bible says, husbands, love your wife as Christ loved the church.
mhm,
So let's think about how has the church been to God? Back and forth. When you deliver us, we good. Then we go back to being bad. Then we get in trouble. You got to deliver us. Very inconsistent, very unloyal.
mhm.
But it's the reason why he gave that responsibility to a man. You know, because of his capacity and his ability to love and the
Mm,
responsibility, the mantle that he's placed on a man. Also, it says, um, wives, husbands, love your wives.
mhm,
Wives, respect your husbands
come on
because
now.
of the way men are built and the way women are built. If somebody is naturally more emotional
Mhm,
and they release different hormones through different things, that requires more love. But
mhm,
love is patient, love is kind, it holds no record of wrong.
mhm,
And because of the man, the way he is, he God needs you to love him, but he also needs you to give him a level of respect because of
mhm.
the mantle and the leadership role.
Come
You know
on
what I'm saying?
now.
So there's a certain respect when
Come
you talk
on.
about the hierarchy that goes. That doesn't mean that he just gets it like that he can be a bum and you still, you know what I'm saying?
I
Of
I I I
course,
get what you're saying.
but it's a reason why things are placed in order like that. So we have to act according
Come
you
on
know.
now.
So, understanding those things and really getting the message out. Like we really like it's crazy. I can think of a lot of men that's out here acting a fool. I can think
Right.
of men that's married that's not faithful. I can
Mhm.
only think of a few men I know that's married. They're like, oh yeah, he's solid.
Right.
He don't be cheating.
Right, right. I know two, my brother, well, three. My brother, shout out to my brother. It's Father's Day. I gotta give my brother a shout
Shout
out.
out to
Lay
the
my
bro.
finger. Because this man he has been consistent in that area. That's the one man on this earth I can vouch for. But my cousin Woodville, who was also like my brother growing up, and my cousin Eric by marriage, and he's just been in love with my cousin. I mean, they have been married forever. But anyways, go back. Digress. So you were
Yeah.
saying about the brothers, you can only think of a few that are married and happily married and walking in that path the way that they should with
Hmm.
their wives. And when you talk about cheating and things of that nature, I commend the couples that have worked and done the work and stayed together. In my, I would say, just since I've never been married, in my moments of just thinking, okay, well, when somebody you know, cheats is just something in the relationship. As a woman and having experience learning different situations, that's not always the right answer. It is in some, and it
Hmm.
may be the answer for me if I did get married and my husband cheated. I don't know. But the point is, I do see how some couples have worked beyond that situation. And I think that there's beauty in that. And I also think people need to really take seriously when they choose a mate. When you choose somebody for life, it can't just be, oh, I'm gonna marry him because his pockets are fat. I'm gonna marry her because her booty is fat. You can't, you have to get beyond all of the exterior and all of the things that don't matter. Because when I look at, for instance, I had a cousin named Nikki, and God bless her heart, God bless her soul. She's moved on and she's passed away. But I'll never forget her being in the hospital, and her husband, cousin George, he had to make a decision. Do I have him pull the plug on my wife, or do I keep her alive? And one thing about my cousin Nikki, she was always on point when it came to her finances and her business. So life insurance policies, all those things were already taken care of. He wasn't worried about money or anything like that. He was hoping and praying that his wife got up off that bed and walked. And he prayed that his wife got up off that bed and walked. He has told me out of his mind, he said, I've never met another woman like my wife, and I never will. So he just waited and waited and waited until he really had to just let her go. And so when I think about that, in that moment, that lets you know she chose the right one. Because if you choose the wrong one, they might just let you go. But when times get hard, when things are difficult, when the marriage is facing trials and tribulations, I saw all of these things growing up in my cousins and my elders and my grandparents. How many years they were married, probably over 50. I need to get the exact number, but the point is that when you really think about a marriage and what it's made out of, it's nothing light. It's a heavy situation, and
Yeah.
trials and tribulations are coming. Are you fit to run and win that race together? Or are you just going to throw in the towel because you don't like something? Are you just going to throw in the towel because you feel like you're doing more work at home than the other person? Are you going to throw in the towel? My grandmother was blind. My grandfather had to carry that cross, and you will walk in their house and never realize my grandmother was blind, just because of how she functioned. But yes, she couldn't cook. So my grandfather had to pick that up. She couldn't, we would clean the house now. My grandmother had us cleaning. We would clean that house. Okay. We cleaned good too. But she couldn't check to see what we did. But we did a great job. So my point is, are you choosing somebody for the long haul, or are you just choosing somebody for the meantime? Because the
Mhm.
test is coming.
Shoot. And that's the only thing that's going to hold it together. Love. I mean, I feel like it's two adults, two totally different people that have to coincide. The two become one, and no more I or me, it's we, it's us. And that
Hmm.
requires a lot of humility, that requires a lot of patience. And ultimately, what that brings us to is love. And that takes maturity because you have to
Mm,
grow to love somebody. You have to grow to love. You have to be mature enough to love. Some people are not mature enough to love.
yeah. It's a choice for sure, because my grandfather didn't say, well, my wife is blind, I'm trading her in. He never did that. He bathed her. He loved on her. He rubbed her down with that green alcohol. They would be in that room laughing and joking. He would get up in the mornings, and when he prayed, he would call out everybody's name, all of his sons' names, all of his grandkids' names. I mean, just to think back on that and how he moved, and how he would not just feed his household, but also feed us when we were there, feed his neighborhood and his community through his garden. It's
Mhm.
important for a man to be able to carry these weights because it's heavy, but at the end of the day, when he comes home, to walk into a place of peace and tranquility, and knowing that he can just be safe. It's a beautiful thing. So I'm glad you were able to join us this evening. Is there anything else you would like to share? Tell people how they can reach you. You already told them that you're going to be having some up and coming events. You know, take them to your website, do all of that good stuff so that they can know they can stay in touch, they can
Okay.
get involved, and we can keep it moving.
Okay. So on Instagram, I'm Super Carol, SuperCarroll. On Facebook, is just my name, Bryan Carroll, BryanCarroll. I have the Father's Love page on, so join that for the guys. you know, only a few girls can come in there. Don't be uh,
You're so silly.
my website is Bryan Carroll and Associates. Associates has two S's in it for y'all that can't spell. Still love y'all. And then am I forgetting something? Am I forgetting something?
You did your Bryan Carroll and Associates. Pretty much, if you all log on to Bryan Carroll and Associates, everything falls under that. You'll be able to connect with Cure. You'll be able to connect with A Father's Love. You'll be able to connect with the reading series, pretty much the events. You'll be able to connect with the virtual learning when that launches, just everything you'll be able to connect. So, Bryan
And
Carroll and
buy a book for
Associates.
20.
And give them out to the kids. And we're gonna have
Yeah.
to get Super Carol out, y'all, this summer to the park and host some workouts for y'all too, for parents and their kids. That'd be a lot of fun. Get him to work us out at the park with the kids. That'd be fun. So thank you, Bryan.
Thank you for
I
having me.
can't wait for everybody to see the cute video of the girls and you. It's going to be beautiful. Happy Father's Day to you.
Thank
Happy
you.
Father's Day to my brother Liam, my cousin Woodville, and all the fathers, my daddy, my uncles, all the wonderful fathers out there who have done the best that they can do to parent their kids and to love on them and to make sure that they're whole. God bless.